Hey, this is my channel. What are you trying to do? Get me demonetized? Get out of here. Come on, I can't believe Nintendo hasn't made their own copy of Overcooked Kirby Chef Hate Your Family 3000, because that's what happens when you play that game. Okay, we're going to make some Goetta, and that is going to take... Give me a second, I'm going to go look at the recipe. Alright, let me know if you can spot all the continuity errors in this video. This is about 6 pounds of shoulder Boston roast with the bone in. It's pork shoulder, also sometimes known as pork butt. I don't understand why they call it pork butt. If someone could please tell me why they call it the butt of the pork, even though it comes from the shoulder, let me know down in the comments, because I do not. But Goetta, however, if you don't know what Goetta is, look it up. I'm not here to educate you, except I kind of am. Except I'm more here to educate myself, and you're just here to watch me educate myself. I am not a licensed educator. Please do not quote me on things. Anyway, Goetta is basically a minced sausage of pork and beef with various herbs and spices mixed with oats. A lot of people say it's the same thing as scrapple. Scrapple, kind of, yes. Scrapple typically uses flour as a binder rather than the oats. However, we're doing Goetta today. It's a Cincinnati classic. I am not from Cincinnati, but I do like Goetta, and I think that the world should take upon Goetta as a classic breakfast food, as I have throughout my entire life. So, without further ado, we're going to boil this bad boy up until the bones fall off, and then we're going to shred it until it is no longer recognizable as this big hunk of sulfuric smelling meat. We're going to take our trusty, dusty, it's not dusty. We're going to take our pot and we're going to fill it with water. Now, the Glider's recipe calls for measuring, which I'm debating whether or not I should do. Let's measure. Let's try to do this the right way. It says boil, not braise. Really, only 6? That was 8 cups. That's not going to cover this thing. Alright. Alright, I'm done with the measuring cup. Just going to fill this up to my heart's content. How's it going? Have you guys liked and subscribed yet? So we're going to turn this baby on high. Going to get that cooking. And we are going to cut up an onion to put in there along with a bay leaf. Get your wet paper towel underneath, and your board will at least slide less than it would without it. We need some aromatics, so we're going to cut up this onion. I'm going to try not to cut my fingers on camera. We're going to get started. If anyone has good ideas on good ways to cut an onion quicker and get the skin off, that's like the most annoying part for me, is taking the skin off. The reason I am doing this, let's move this out of the way. But the reason I'm doing this is, I'd say about 6 months ago, I was just cooking dinner as usual, and I decided, it's like, hey, like, I kind of enjoy this, and by kind of, I mean, I enjoy this quite a bit. Why not take the time to actually learn how to cook properly, like a professional chef, like go above and beyond of just being a regular home chef. If it makes you uncomfortable waving this knife, then I'm going to do it more. So, I started studying. I've always enjoyed like cooking documentaries and stuff. If you want a good one, Netflix has a couple of really good ones. Salt, Fat, Acid, and Heat by Samin Nosrat. She also has a book. It's currently in my room because I'm reading it before I go to bed. She's amazing, and she's definitely one of the inspirations I had for doing this. I also have that big hunk of paper, The Professional Chef by the Culinary Institute of America. That book's incredible. It's got some really great recipes in it. The Food Lab by J. Kinji Lopez. He's awesome. He's really cool. He has a TikTok account and stuff. Cooked by Michael Pollan. He's not a chef, but he did kind of go on this whole adventure of learning how to cook. Kind of like what I'm doing, except I'm trying to go a step above and beyond. You know, I'm pretty sure it told me to slice these and not dice them, but I'll just actually just slice this one. I think that'll be fine. So we're just gonna make some nice slices here. So yeah, I decided that trying to become a chef-level cook, a professional chef-level cook, would be quite a bit of fun. And I thought it'd be even more fun to record it, write about it, and make videos and show you guys the process of me doing this. You can watch me fail a lot and hopefully learn something from it. So that's kind of the idea behind this. And if you don't learn something, then at least I hope you're entertained. And if you're not entertained, then get out of here. Don't want you here. But like and subscribe because you're nice. And I like the shirt you're wearing. And if you're not wearing a shirt, that's weird. Go put a shirt on. Anyway, I suck at cooking. But the goal is to get better. And my eyes hurt. Because onions. This recipe calls for some aromatics in there, and it's pretty simple. It's just some onion, some whole peppercorns. If you have black pepper, you can probably just go ahead and sprinkle a little bit of ground black pepper in there. It's not going to kill you. It's just to get some extra flavor into the meat. It does not call for salt, which I think is important. Do not salt this before cooking it. Because that's not the goal. We're not eating it as is, but I assume it's to keep the stock pure, no salt, because when it reduces, then it could get way too salty. That's something that I've had to learn a lot, is when you're first learning how to cook, one thing you do learn is that it's very easy to oversalt your food, but you also want to learn how to be smart and brave with salting your food. Sometimes I would argue it is better to undersalt in some occasions. Sometimes it's hard to add that salt, but a lot of times it's not too hard to add that salt at the end. But also calls for a bay leaf, so yeah. All right, welcome to this side of the kitchen. We're just gonna add our onions in here, create that aromatic. All right, what I'm adding here is just some crushed garlic. You didn't see me crush it, but I just took the skin off and crushed it and threw it in there, and now my hands are sticky like garlic. It says specifically 6 peppercorns. I don't know if you need to be that specific, but if you want, that's more than 6, but once again, it's just to have enough for the aromatic flavors. All right, we got our pork here, and we're just gonna open her up. I think we gotta get it to it just says combine in the pot and then bring to a boil. It's actually probably better to put it in cold. I'm just gonna risk burning myself. Don't do this at home. Ooh, is this too much? Is this too much water? I can always take water out. Oh, wow, that might be too much water. I think the little one will be easy to clean. So for future reference, maybe cut the 6-pound hunk of meat before putting it in so that, it's not just one giant hunk of meat. All right, so I already got the bone removed. It didn't, I'm not gonna lie and say that it just perfectly came off in the water. I had to do a little bit of help, but the meat is pretty tender, I'd say. You can maybe argue that it could go for another hour or so, but we can take the bone out. And now we just need to take a strainer. We're just going to slowly Now it's time to mince the meat. This is going to take a while. Honestly, for me, this is half of cooking, just needing to get a bigger bowl. All right, now this recipe calls for 4 cups of the kind of stock that we created, and then 1 cup of oats, but that's only for about 2 pounds of pork neck bone and the meat with it, and we have 4 pounds of meat. So I think I'm going to increase the amount. Probably going to do about 5 cups of oats, and probably all of this stock, as much as I can use. First, I think we should add the stock, probably at least double. My plan Since I didn't have beef, I was going to add a little bit of beef bouillon just to get some of that beefy flavor. Okay, wow, that's pretty much exactly 12 cups. So we're going to bring this to a boil, and you know what? I'm going to add another 4 cups of water. Time to let this boil, and when I come back, we'll be adding the oats. Okay, now that this is boiling, and we've removed a bit of the fat off the top as needed, we can go ahead and add the seasoning, which is a mix of thyme, sage, salt, cayenne, a little bit of nutmeg. Just going to add that in there. Add the oats. Going to go ahead and add the extra cup. That's a total of 5 cups of oats. But I would say do it depending on the amount of meat you are putting in there comparatively, because you want that texture to be right. I'm going to add extra, make it pound for pound amount of oats. All right, now that we've let this simmer for a minute, the oats seem to be ready. They stuck to the bottom a bit, but that's okay. And next, the only thing to do now is to add in the meat. Hopefully it'll also kind of absorb some of this moisture. You still may have to drain some of it, but it's thickened quite a bit with the oats, so I'm hoping that won't be a problem. Now all there is to do is to incorporate it. This is what I'm looking at here. I think this is the right consistency that you want, but you just got to make sure it's properly incorporated. There aren't dry spots. See how it tastes. It needs a lot of flavoring. I'm actually going to add a little secret ingredient here. Secret. I'm sure Goliath uses it. Let's use some MSG now. And it is really just umami flavor. A little goes a long way, so I'd say don't add more than a pinch at a time. I like to add it before salt, because then you get to understand what umami adds to a dish. Give that a quick taste. Didn't add a ton, but I can taste it a little. I'm probably going to add a little more. This is a big bat. Alright, finally get a taste of the Goetta. Had to film this on a different day. I just burnt my tongue on it. Alright, it's got a good crisp. Let's turn this off. Let's be safe and smart. Pull it off the heat. There we go. Definitely tastes meatier than what I'm used to, but it's good. It's got a good texture. It's got a good flavor. It's just not as finely ground as a Goliath's. Otherwise, I feel like it tastes pretty close to it. So I'm pretty proud of this. I'm pretty proud of what I've got right here. It's not a lot, but I've got a ton in the freezer. But yeah, if you ever want to make homemade Goetta, I would say it's not the most difficult thing in the world. It just takes a couple of steps and it takes a bit of time. I may suggest using a little bit less liquid than what I did, because it did come out a little wet, so it takes a little bit longer for it to brown and to get the extra, and it makes it hard then to form it into little patties and cook it as patties because it's so wet. So next time I definitely think I will not use as much stock, so that way it's a little bit firmer. It does firm up a bit in the fridge and definitely in the freezer, but it still might just fall apart upon cooking it. So that's the only thing that I would maybe do differently. And yeah, thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.